So I want to now talk a little bit more about I mentioned earlier in my comments that the dispute, let me see, why is my video off? Okay, here it is. Sorry. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the dispute financing library. As I think I mentioned it earlier in my comments, the library was created in response to what was perceived by us, by members of the industry, by critics, by everybody, as a pressing need for information about the industry, to have information that was much more readily available to both to the people who are involved, many of you are directly involved, but also to the general public. And so we created a library. It's free to use. It's fully searchable. It's a fully searchable document base. And it contains as much information on the industry as we can get our hands on. So I want to turn it over to David, who was, I think, certainly one of the driving forces in the creation of the library. And I want to, he's going to give a demonstration and talk about what's in the library and what's not in the library, and what kind of, and either he or I somewhere will talk a little bit about the help that we need in keeping this library up. David?
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see if I can get this to work. Hopefully you all can see, this is what the dispute financing library looks like. So it is, as Peter described, a fully searchable document database. The most basic function of the library is the simple search, which you see over here on the right side of the screen. Now, it lets you search through the whole database for whatever you want to search for. So I can just do, test and hit search, and it pops up with 7 pages of 330 documents that respond to the term test. You can see underneath it, there's, for administrators, there's an edit button, but you can see a bigger preview of it. You can share the document. You can add it to a collection. I'll get to that in a little bit later. So we've gone through and tagged each of these documents so that you can get a pretty detailed set of search results. So I'm going to click Advanced Search over here. You can see that there's a lot of categories of things that you can search. We've got 2,147 total documents in here, but we can narrow it. For example, you can search by type of document, whether it's a statute or a court opinion or a report or a journal article. You can search by jurisdiction. You can search by the subject matter of the document. You can search, for things that have to do with champerty. So I can look, for example, for enacted statutes from Ohio, for example, and go to the bottom. You can see here the two, well, it's two copies of this Ohio statute. And I can click on it, and you can see a little preview over here on the left. And you can download a PDF version of it for free onto your computer. You can also view it on the site. If you click Document Viewer, you can then start scrolling through the statute and just read it on the site. And the links are static, which means that you can send this link to anybody, and they'll be able to view it in exactly the same way. And they'll also be able to download it. Another useful feature we have here, a little bit collaborative, is this annotation function. So you see up here, it says Add Annotation. If you click on that, get this yellow box. You can move it to whatever part of the statute you want. You can write something like test. That'll then pop up. Anybody who views this document will then be able to see this annotation. So you can sort of discuss an issue live on the document if you'd like. You can go back to the resource view and you'll see that the annotation is still on the preview, and you can work with it there. So a number of other things. I'm just going to delete this annotation here. The share function I think is useful. So if you click share, you can email the document to somebody, or you can generate a URL which gives you a shortened sort of static URL that you can share and have anybody who wants to see the document. Now, the collections function is, I think, particularly useful. So you see at the bottom, there's this bar that says My Collections, and the current collection says Test. If you're working on a deal or working on a case, and you're collecting documents, whether it's statutes or case law that you think are relevant to your current project, you may not want to research for documents, you may want to sort of keep them all in one place. An easy way to do that is with collections. So you can go click here, click on this Create New Collections button, and you can say like My Project, and then you can click right here the Add to Collection button, and you see that that's now at 1 item. Now if you go and you do another search, let's just do a simple search for test, and you take a random thing here and you add it to the collection, you see there are 2 items under My Project. So if you go then up on top where it says My Collections, and you find My Project, you click on it, those 2 documents are there. So it's a way of keeping everything together so you don't have to repeatedly perform searches. Now, this database is not just of documents, though of course it is. It also has media files. So for example, you can click video and just search for the videos on the library. We've got 40 of them right now, though we're growing pretty quickly. There's a couple different types of videos, but one thing we have a bunch of is legislative history. So you can actually watch state legislatures debating the legislation that we have on the library. We also have conferences. So we hosted a conference on third-party litigation funding recently. Those videos are up here. The video that of this event that we're doing right now will be up here. So it lets you hear from experts in talking about this stuff. We're also working on a series of expert issue area videos to get you a quick primer on a lot of the specific issue areas within third-party litigation funding. And the last thing is there's a number of relevant documents that might have copyright issues that we can't just post for download whenever we want. A lot of journal articles are like this, for example. So I'm going to search for journal articles, and you can see what we did, which is these documents are all still fully searchable. If you search for a term, they'll still pop up. But if you click here on this article, you'll see you can't view the document on the site, and you can't download it. So what you can do is you click this external link button, and you'll be taken to the journal's website or to the SSRN page, and you can access it there. So even documents that are related to third-party litigation funding that are not publicly publicly owned, like for example case law or statutes, you can still find that on here, and you can they'll still be responsive to your searches. The last thing that I want to show right now is that we have an industry news section. So if you go right here where it says industry news, these are all news stories about third-party litigation funding. Now we manually enter news stories that we think are of particular interest, but we have worked with the Litigation Finance Journal, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's a really useful website that basically has a lot of the relevant news in the industry. But each of these articles has a preview. It's got a headline, and it's got a little preview here that you can read to keep you up to date on the news. And if you want to read the full story, you can click on the external link button and get taken to the Litigation Finance Journal page. And this sort of quasi-live update, so that whenever Litigation Finance Journal posts a news story, it immediately gets sent to our library. So it's a great way to keep abreast of news as well as substantive, case law and things like that. Now, we are developing more features for the site in addition to our sort of primers on a number of the key issues. We're going to build out a forum, which will help users have conversations, ask questions about a lot of the issues in the industry, whether it be sort of an outsider who's trying to learn, or whether it be an insider who has a specific question about maybe a difficult detail about a certain state's law. You can ask and discuss with each other there. Another thing we're doing is we're inserting email update options. So for example, if you conduct a set of searches that are critical to an ongoing project, and instead of having to go to the library every day and conducting the search again to see if anything news popped up, you can set it up so that if any new searches, any new documents appear in response to a search term, you'll get an automatic email with those documents. Now, the library relies, as you can tell, on a steady flow of documents coming in, and we need to be kept abreast of what's going on. And that's where we have relied on a lot of folks to help out. So I'm going to go through, if you see the acknowledgements over here, we have an amazing board for the Dispute Financing Library, many of whom are presenting on the panels today, but some of whom aren't. And that includes Bernardo Cremades, Julia Gewalb, Mark Jacobs, Victoria Sahani, Charles Schmerler, Tony Seebach, and especially in terms of the documents that are on here, Eric Scholler and Selvin Seidel have provided an enormous amount of the documents on here. We also then had Center on Civil Justice research assistants meticulously go through all these documents.
Hey, David, I don't know that you've mentioned all the people, but a couple, at least maybe I missed it. Did you mention Victoria?
I thought I did, but perhaps I forgot. If I did, then I apologize. Victoria Sahani is an amazing member of our board who will be on the next panel.
And I think that's the one I remember.
If I forgot anyone, I apologize. You can all go and see our amazing board by clicking on this acknowledgement section. But we've had research assistants go through all these documents, tag them, and upload them so that they can be responsive to your searches. But we still need the stream of documents. So we need your help to keep this website updated. So if any of you have documents, there are two things you can do. One is we have an upload section on the site right here. You can just upload a document. If you think there's a relevant document we don't have, please upload it. You can tag it yourself and it'll go up on the site. Or if you've got a big batch of documents for us, all the better. You don't have to tag them all yourself. Just send us the batch and we will make sure that our team tags and uploads them. If you go to contact us, you see there's an email address here. That'll come to me. I will check it and I will make sure that we get those documents uploaded promptly. So I'm going to stop sharing for the moment to look at you all in the face and see if you have any questions. But I want to thank you all and hope that this is a useful tool for you. It's free. Anybody can go on to disputefinancing-library.org, create an account, and start accessing these documents. So I really hope it's useful for you, and I hope we can work together in terms of into building it out to the best it can be. I see that. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt if there's a question, but I just want to say one more thing, which is that another really terrific feature of this website is that it is constantly evolving. That is, we take feedback from all of you, the people who use it, and we have to advise us about what's useful, what's not useful, what could be presented in a better way, what things are missing. So we would really urge you to please, if you use it and you find it useful, tell us that. And if you find that it could be more useful, tell us how. That would be great. I'm sorry, David.
No, I just see that there's a question from Charlie Platt, who's on the board, not of the library, but of the board of our Center on Civil Justice. So Charlie, I'm going to unmute you right now.
He's not unmuted.
You're not. I'm trying. There we go.
Hi, David. I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to commend you and the others that were on the board for creating a really terrific resource. I know this took quite a bit of work and quite a bit of time, but you've been very thorough, and I, for one, am going to make extensive use of this. So I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being a part of our center and really helping us in a lot of different ways in terms of making our center successful.
David, this is, can I make a couple of comments on this?
Sure, go ahead, Selvin.
First of all, it is fabulous. It is a first of its kind, the only one in the world, and it's backed by one of the best law schools in the world. And Peter and David have put together something which is truly not only unique, but spectacular. So if you can help in any way, please do that, because this is a very worthy enterprise, and you could be doing something that would be better for the industry.
Thank you, Selvin.
Thank
Really
you, Selvin.
appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments or thoughts?